Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and to our coffee times together. This video is super spontaneous. I decided to do it today and upload it for you guys because you know why. We're not gonna name the thing, but we are all spending a lot of time home. Some of us even by ourselves. I live alone with my pets, so I have been spending the last couple of days locked down in my apartment by myself, and luckily I am a person that has a lot of hobbies. So I read, I watch a lot of movies, I can entertain myself, but it comes to a point where you wonder, what do I do, what do I watch, what do I read? And so I decided to make a quick video with just 5 recommendations based on Netflix TV shows that are very bingeable, and a book that has a similar theme, or I think people that have enjoyed the show would like the book, and also the other way around. Maybe you have read the books but you have not watched these Netflix shows. So I hope there is a little bit for everybody in this video, and I can help you find something to either binge read or binge watch to keep you entertained in this 2020 that honestly, this is just a bad year. We should just change it. So I hope that some of these recommendations, make you happy, keep you entertained, and take you a little bit away from the bad situation where you're experiencing in the world right now, and you can flee reality a little bit for a while and have some fun.
It's coffee time!
Alright, let's get to those recommendations. So in number 1, I have something for my peeps that love murder mystery drama with teenagers, because there is this Netflix show that I just binged. The 3rd season just came out and I binged it and loved it, and that is Elite. This is a Spanish Netflix exclusive show, and it kind of tells the story of these school for rich kids, and they had to accommodate a couple of kids that are poor because they got a studies grant to go to that school. And it talks about the difference of the classes, it talks about homophobia, it talks about a lot of different topics, and they do a great job also when it comes to diversity of characters and stuff like that. And it's all very dramatic in a way, like a soap opera, but it also has a lot of a mystery thriller kind of situation, because from the moment 1 that somebody was murdered, you just don't know who did it. So it's kind of like a whodunit teenager kind of situation. But I really love the book that I would recommend if you like the show would be One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. This was her debut novel and it was really well received, even won some awards. And it's about these 5 kids that go to detention, but only 4 of them come out alive. So the whole book is kind of like this mystery trying to solve who done it as well. So I thought this would be a good kind of combo. So if you like the book, you might want to give the series a try, or if you love the series, you might want to get to the book. Also, the book has a second installment called Two Can Keep a Secret, which sounds really much like Pretty Little Liars. So, you can binge both of them. The next show is for people that love weird shows that have Carrie vibes. That's how I would describe the show, and that is a very recent Netflix release called I Am Not Okay With This, and it stars Sophia Lillis on the main role, whom I love. And this is so bingeable because it's only a couple of episodes and they are only like 30 minutes tops long, so it's super quick and easy to binge. And it's just a coming of age story, and seeing how this teenager navigates between the problems she has with her family, her own sexuality, plus she's developing superpowers, or something's happening with her and she doesn't know what it is. So it was just funny, it was interesting, it was dark, and the ending was everything to me. I absolutely loved it. For this, of course, the book that I'm going to recommend is Carrie by Stephen King from 1974, because I think it's a modern classic, and we keep using the idea of Carrie in so many shows and movies still nowadays. It's still very relevant, so if you have not tried it out, this might be a good one to read. Also, it's not too long, so you can just binge it in one day while you're home. And it's the story of Carrie. She, you know, is also having these powers that she doesn't know how to control. She also doesn't have the best relationship with her mother or with people at school, and so she starts not to be able to control these powers. And I think it is, for me, also, you know, a book that I could reread anytime. It's a character that I've always loved. So if you already have read Carrie but you have not checked the Netflix show, I would recommend it to you. Or if you watched the show but you were unsure if you wanted to check out Carrie by Stephen King, I say go for it. If you're looking for a show that has some witchy, dark vibes, I would recommend you The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, obviously on Netflix. It's also now has a couple of seasons, so this is longer, so it will keep you occupied for a longer period of time. And it is based on the comics, on the Archie comics. I think most of us know the character of Sabrina because of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the TV show that was fantastic, and I loved it when I was a teenager. But this time the adaptation is way more kind of like keeping the essence and the darkness and the gore from the comics. It's still slightly toned down because it's kind of like made for teenagers. I think the comics are still a little bit more gory, but if you're looking for a dark story about a witch that is half witch, half human, and when she comes of age, she needs to decide if she wants to stay with her human friends or wants to go and sign the Book of the Beast and join Satan. I think you should really give this one a try. I think it's great. It doesn't matter if you have read the comics or not, but it's just a lot of fun, and I love Kiernan Shipka as Sabrina. She is fantastic. As for the book, I recommend you Once a Witch by Carolyn McCullough, and there's also a second book called Always a Witch, so Once a Witch, Always a Witch. And I really enjoyed this one because it was kind of like this teenager story where the teenager is a witch, but it was kind of different. We're following Tamsin, and she comes from a family of witches, and all of them develop their powers when they're a certain age, but the time keeps passing by and her powers are not showing up, so she thinks that she's a failure. And one day while she's working in a bookstore, there's this stranger that comes in, and she agrees to find a family artifact for him, even though she knows she has no powers. But then she realized that she's able to do things she didn't know she could do. And in these two books we get to time travel as well, which I thought it was a really cool aspect to it. So it's kind of different from Sabrina, but this is two books that I think are really bingeable to read and that not so many people maybe know about. And if you're looking for a cool teenage witch story and you have not tried them out, I definitely recommend you to give them a try. Next category is, do you love kids with superpowers and 80s? Well, I'm here to recommend you a show that I think everybody knows of, but I just want to remind you that if you have not watched it yet, it is about time, and that is Stranger Things. This is, I think by now, the most popular by far TV show, Netflix exclusive. It was created by the Duffer Brothers, and we are in Hawkins, Indiana, in a small town in the 1980s, where there is this kind of government, organization that it's not so kosher, let's put it that way. And people on the town realize something's happening when one of the kids that they were experimenting on in these government facilities escapes, and that is 11, and she is a girl that has specific powers. And while she's running away, she finds a couple of kids and develops a friendship with them. So that's basically the very beginning of the story, but there is so much more to it. And there are so many references to 80s movies like, The Goonies and E.T. and a lot of different things. So if you love the 80s movies, kids with superpowers, you should definitely check this one out. And there is so much evolution on the characters, and it gets darker and darker as the series progresses. And as for the book here, obviously, I'm gonna recommend you that 80s book that was actually published in 1980 that fits perfectly with this, and that is Firestarter by Stephen King. So it has also its own movie, just saying, if you want to check it out, with Drew Barrymore. So in the story of Firestarter, we're following a couple that they both, when they were younger, were submitted to some government top classified experiments that gave them psychic superpowers, and they end up together and they end up having a kid, because what could go wrong? And so their kid has these specific power, which is starting fires, hence Firestarter. And the parents are really trying really hard to keep the child calm down and not to show the powers, because they're scared that the government is going to come and take her. Number 5, I'm gonna call this category Bloodlust, because we're here to talk vampires. So Netflix has this new show called V-Wars, which is based on vampires as a virus, and this is a show that came out not long ago, and it stars Ian Somerlander. I was really I thought it was really funny, that he would do another vampire show after Vampire Diaries. I thought he was sick and tired of the topic, but apparently not. So in this new story, which is based on graphic novels as well, we have a doctor whose best friend is infected by this virus that is starting to turn people into vampires. So he's doing all he can to try to help his friend and cure him from this virus that's making him a vampire. So yeah, this is a very interesting show, Netflix exclusive, and if you love vampires, just give this one a chance. It's not the best thing you've ever seen, but it's quite entertaining. And here, as a book, I'm gonna recommend one that actually I have in my to read pile that I have not read yet, but it is The Passage by Justin Cronin, just because I think it fits so well with the TV show, like what it's about, and also is a trilogy of chunky books. So if something is looking for something that it's gonna entertain them for hours and hours, you might want to try this trilogy. And we are in a world that starts kind of like in an apocalyptic scenario, and then we move to a post-apocalyptic scenario. I think it has a total of like 90 years in between or something, and it's basically this virus that spread that started to turn humans into these kind of creatures, zombie slash vampire like, that thirst for blood, and how they're trying to find a cure for this. Because it's a very contagious virus. So these two things, the show and the book, portray vampirism as a virus, something that you can get infected with, which is one of the newer approaches obviously to vampirism, which in the classic it would be just they would bite you and things like that, but because the show talks about the virus, I thought I would compare this to The Passage. I still have not read it, so it actually might be a great recommendation for myself to finally get to read that first book. And so these were 5 recommendations of some TV shows from Netflix that you can binge, and also some books that you might want to give it a try. So I'm just trying to keep you occupied while you're home. Also, please give me all of your recommendations from Netflix shows that I should check if I haven't yet, and other books that might be really bingeable for now, because I'm also spending a lot of time home by myself with my pets. I'm trying not to leave the house too much, only when I need groceries or things like that. I think that's the responsible thing to do. So if you have ideas of shows, movies, and books that I can get to, let me know in the comments down below. I hope that this video was useful for you guys, and I hope that you're all staying safe and your families are safe. And if you want to follow me into the social media, all the links as always are in the description box down below, so we can connect there as well. And I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!